Now, my name is Ivan Merlo. I'm the owner of Newly Booked, a growth partner agency that has grown multiple med spas to multiple seven figures a year. Now, I myself have gone into med spas, practically lived inside of them for over 90 days at a time. I've fired whole teams, restructured them, and then scaled those spas to 300K plus a month businesses. And here's what I've learned. So for spas that are between that 50, 70K range, what they need to work on is what I call standardizing the sales process. So current state, most likely if you're at this stage, you have successfully, or at least somewhat successfully, 100% delegated fulfillment, right? i.e., you have injectors doing Botox, filler, you have estheticians maybe doing other stuff like body sculpting, etc. You might still be doing it for old clients, right? Or sometimes you're filling in when an injector doesn't show up or quits same day. But for the most part, you're on the way to fully delegating the fulfillment side of things. Now, you are still the main salesperson in your business, right? So what are you struggling with? Well, most likely you're struggling with constant new profitable patient flow, right? So you need just more sales opportunities for yourself so that you can keep your team busy. Also, you're starting to realize that nurses can't sell, and you've tried delegating sales before, but it just hasn't worked. Okay, cool. If that sounds like you, here is the solution. So you're going to want to choose one service that you're going to focus on. Now, by the way, we specialize on this, and we then become a master at selling that specific thing for as high of a price as possible. So what we're doing now is we are making a profitable engine, patient acquisition engine, right? So when we get new patients in, we can actually acquire new patients profitably because we're going to be making a 10 to 25x multiple on our ad spend. So next is you're going to want to record your consultations. And then from those recordings, you're going to document and create a script, right? So a big issue why you're not able to delegate sales is because you are focusing on so many different treatments. When you get a patient in, you're essentially doing a blanket consultation, figuring out what their problems are, and then customizing a treatment plan for them. Obviously, if you do this, you can do this because you're the owner. I'm the owner at my business, right? When I talk with a med spa, I can really afford to take the consultation to go anywhere because I know everything, right? I know the context, 100% context of my business, but a salesperson won't be able to do that. So in order for you to delegate sales, what you need to do is focus on one treatment and then standardize the sales process for selling that single treatment. You might not be able to train a sales team to sell every service at your spa, but you will be able to train them to just sell one service, and you can get them to sell that service really freaking good. So this is why you want to just focus on one service and then document and create a script on how you can sell this one service all the time at a very high price. Next is you want to make sure that you don't finish this process until you can consistently close clients following that script exactly. All right. So if you're going off script, going into essentially owner sales mode, right, where you are the specialist that knows everything, then you're not done yet. It needs to be something that is replicatable, repeatable, even for someone that is not going to have all of the context and all of the know-how that you do. Cool. Things to look out for. You should be delegating yourself completely out of treatments, okay? Think about it this way. If for every single consultation that you have with a new patient, you are able to collect on average $1,000, $2,000 per consultation, then that is what you're worth, right? That's what your hourly wage is worth. You're worth around $1,000 to $2,000 an hour, right? Because that's what you can make for your spa. Injectors don't cost that much, right? And so as business owners, we need to better utilize our time, right? The only difference between you and a billionaire is that Billionaires know how to spend their time more effectively, right? There's the same 24 hours in a day. So how do we do that? Well, we need to start thinking like a person that makes more money than you currently make, right? How does a person that makes $300,000 a month, what do they do? Are they still doing treatments? Most likely not, right? And so you need to delegate yourself completely out of treatments so that you can just focus on your bottleneck, which in this case is sales. Now, another common mistake that I see with med spa owners is they try to take a shortcut by hiring a salespeople before your sales process is documented and replicatable, right? It will not work. You are going to fall into the same trap where you hire a salesperson, you start making less money because they're not closing the deals that you could have closed. And all of this is because there's no set process in place, right? What's the first question they ask? What's the second question they ask? When a patient says that, oh, I've tried this treatment before and it didn't work for me, does that salesperson know exactly what to say word for word, right? When the person says, I need to talk to my husband, does that salesperson know exactly what they're supposed to say? If not, then the process isn't done yet, right? It's not going to work. So we want to make sure that the sales process is documented and it's replicatable. Another mistake that I see med spas do all the time is they focus on more than one service. Look, I have no problem you selling multiple services, right? Now, once again, you are the owner, so you know everything. Your salespeople will not have this context, which will make the next step impossible. If you want to sell multiple services, that will be for later. Right now, your bottleneck is not the fact that you're not selling multiple services. Your bottleneck is that you cannot sell one service consistently at a super high price in a documented, repeatable fashion so that you can delegate this to somebody else. That is your bottleneck, not the fact that you're not selling multiple services. Know what to focus on. Cool. If you achieve this, then you are now at 120 to 150K a month. Congratulations. The next step that you're going to need to do in order to grow further is you need to become a sales manager. Okay? So, your current state, you do not do treatments anymore. Congratulations. Now, you have backup injectors and estheticians in case someone quits, right? If you are still the final stop, an injector quits, all of a sudden you have to go back into injecting because there's no one else to do it, and now you can't take on more consultations. Guess what's going to happen to your business? You are going to lose $50,000 to $100,000 a month in revenue because now your attention is split and your time is taken from you. Having an injector backup on staff is going to cost you like $3,000 a month. Consider that like insurance, okay? And also, you're going to need her soon because you're about to grow really, really fast. Now, every consultation, another thing in your current state is that every consultation is the same. Sales are repeatable, and to you, they feel monotonous. The same. It might even get a bit boring. This is a good sign. It means that it's replicatable. Now, this is what you're struggling with. The business can't grow anymore because you just physically can't take on any more consultations, right? You're only doing consults, and your calendar, your Saturdays completely booked out, your Fridays are booked out, your Mondays and Wednesdays are essentially booked out, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are a bit slower, but that's normal. Now, here's the solution. You're going to need to start hiring a sales team. So here's the step-by-step. You're going to go on LinkedIn, Indeed, Facebook ads. You're going to make a job post for that position. You're going to want to post the ad on Thursday, Friday, and you're going to kill it on a Monday. And you're going to want to spend around $100 a day on this. Okay, so the reason why we're doing it on like Thursday, Friday to Monday is because people are looking for jobs on the weekend, right? When they're off from work. And so you're just going to run those ads on those most effective days. Now, if you're right, so you killed the ad on Monday, if you still haven't found enough salespeople, then what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to turn that ad back on. You want to duplicate that ad and then turn the duplicate on. The reason being is because people are significantly less prone to fill out a job application when they see that it's an old listing. So you always want to keep the listing brand new. Next is you want to reach out to these leads immediately, right? This is essentially like finding new patients, and you're going to want to do just a quick qualification, okay? And not too much, because what you're going to be doing next is you're going to be doing batch interviews So essentially in like a group Zoom call, and you want to get like 10 to 15 people on that Zoom call because only around 60% for the most part are going to show up, and you want like at least 10 to actually show up. Your goal here is to interview at least 50 people by Wednesday. Okay? Now, the goal here is that you want to have everybody in this group call because you are looking for salespeople, and salespeople, for the most part, are going to make themselves known, which is where, for the salespeople that kind of pass this interview process, you think that they're going to be good, you're going to invite them to the spa for a final interview. So you can invite them all on the same day. Now, you're going to give them some homework in between this Zoom call and in between this in-spa interview. And what you're going to do is you're going to give them the script that you've now curated, and they are going to have to study it. Now, this is how you're going to know right away if they qualify or disqualify. If they come to the spa without knowing the script, without having any additional questions for you, then it's an auto disqualification. I don't care how charismatic they are, blah, blah, blah. These salespeople that are just charismatic but don't actually study, they're going to be the bottleneck for your business because they're not going to spend the extra time to actually follow the process, right? They're just going to wing it every single time. In the beginning, it might feel really cool. They're making sales, but every salesperson is going to have a dry streak, and they're not going to be able to go back to baseline or grow because they didn't spend the time to actually figure it out. So if the person comes to your spa with questions, with notes, that's a good sign. Okay, this is a sign that this person can grow. Next, if the salesperson isn't essentially profitable within the first 2 weeks, you want to fire and start again. This is why you should try and hire at least 2 to 3 people at a time to increase your odds that you're going to find a good salesperson. So many times I see spas when they do this process, because of fear, they only hire one salesperson. Like, oh my God, like what if I have 2, 3 salespeople? I don't have the volume to handle 2, 3 salespeople. Look, the probability that on your first try, you're going to find an amazing salesperson is very low. Most likely, you're going to have one of these salespeople quit within the first 2 weeks. Cool. So if you only hire like one person and that happens, well, like you're back to zero again, right? So you didn't like make any progress at all. And you, as the owner, you're doing this for the first time. So you want to get as much experience as possible under your belt so that you can start understanding what a good salesperson actually looks like. Because you're going to have, oh, this person seems really confident, seems really outgoing, or whatever you're going to prescribe to what a good salesperson looks like. And only after you've actually worked with them are you going to realize, oh, actually, yeah, he might be outgoing, blah, blah, but he doesn't listen, right? He doesn't change behavior. He's not actually trainable. So last but not least, every spa I've worked with, if you actually follow this process, every spa I've worked with has found an amazing salesperson within 3 hiring cycles. So you want to go fast. Don't keep a salesperson on for a very long time and you're thinking, oh, well, they're planning to get better. They're trying really hard. It doesn't matter here, okay? This is about the revenue of your business. It is one of the most important positions at the spa, sales, right? If they're not good, you need to, and as long as you're training them, as long as you're doing everything correctly, you need to fire them and get someone in as fast as possible. Essentially, the sales hiring machine should be going at all times. Now, things to look out for. Moving way too slow with the hiring process, as already mentioned. Keeping bad salespeople on with the hopes they're going to get better. And last but not least, this is where a lot of med spa owners really get stuck on. They really slack on this, is they're not auditing their salespeople's consultations and doing ongoing training on a daily basis. You're like, oh my God, that's a lot of work, blah, blah. Only when the spas realize this do they grow. Most med spa owners make the mistake in thinking that they are in the services business. You're not in the services business. You're not in the aesthetics business. A med spa is a sales and marketing business, which means that the sooner you understand this and the sooner that you allocate most of your time to sales and marketing, the sooner your business will explode in growth. So that is why you need to delegate yourself out of treatments and then spend all of your time on sales and your sales team. And trust me, your med spa will grow extremely fast. Cool. Now, last but not least, you're stuck at between 200 and $250,000 a month. This step I like to call is becoming an operator. So current state, everything's on fire, right? Too much volume. None of your current systems can handle it. You're relying mostly on paid ads, new patient traffic for a majority of your revenue. The cost to get someone in the door, to get a new patient to walk into your spa, is getting higher and higher and higher, and it's making it very hard for you to stay profitable, right? It's squeezing your margins. Now, patients are also complaining, right, that their concerns are not getting addressed in a timely manner, and your quality is starting to slip. Cool. So what you're struggling with, the business can't grow now because the foundation, it feels as if the foundation is crumbling on your right below your feet, right? And also, once again, the profit margins now are shrinking. They're getting squeezed. And so you also don't have the money anymore to like just fix problems. Cool. So the solution to this is you're going to want to create a consistent revenue growth. This is kind of the main thing. All of this really is about like getting better at operations in your business. So you need to start tracking all of your patients that have purchased the initial big ticket package that you sold them, right? So for example, if you sold them weight loss, then you might want to sell them a skin tightening package, right? So essentially how it works in business, every problem that you solve creates a new problem, all right? So for example, weight loss, you've lost weight, successful. Now you need skin tightening, right? And it goes like that in a constant circle. There's always something else that needs to now be improved upon. So you want to make sure that at least 80% of the patients that purchase your initial big ticket item are consuming the whole package. This is where I see a lot of med spas get stuck, is they sell this really high ticket package in the beginning, but they don't actually do anything to make sure that that patient actually consumed it. Because if they didn't consume it, you're not going to be able to sell them a second package because they still haven't even finished their first package. So you need to make sure that the patients are consuming the whole package. Next is you're going to want to create a high ticket package, a very high ticket package. So let's say you sold the previous package for $5,000. This next package should be like $15,000 or more. And this next package is going to solve the next problem that the patients have after consuming your first treatment plan. Okay? The cool thing is about this is that these patients that bought your first package and they've consumed it, they now are extremely qualified. These are the most qualified people that you can possibly have. No ads will get you patients this qualified. Why? First of all, you already know that these patients are willing to spend a lot of money on aesthetics, right? Because they've already done that in the past. Second, they trust you because you've already fulfilled on your first promise, right? And it happened. What you sold them, it got them their dream result. And so now they're going to have a second dream result and they're going to trust you that you can get them there. Cool. So that is the plan. Next is you want to create a process where patients that finish the first package are consistently sold the second package. A big mistake I see in spas is they want to create a second marketing funnel, right? Okay, I have this one thing that's generating me a ton of money through like Facebook ads, getting them in the door, selling them a package. I need to now, so essentially I have a golden goose, right? I have a system that just consistently prints money. Well, now, what's the next logical step? I'm stuck on growth. Well, I just need to find a second golden goose. It is so hard to get this golden goose in the first place. And now you want to create a second golden goose. It's just going to overcomplicate all of your process. It's going to confuse you and dilute your attention. A much easier and way more profitable thing to do is create a second offer. So the people that bought the first one buy the second offer, and it will allow you to make more money per patient and increase the ad spend further, right? Because now, even though the cost to acquire is going up, you're also making a significantly amount more on the back end. Cool. Now, after that, what you're going to want to do is you want to create systems and reports for the fulfillment side and the front desk, right? So this could be NPS scores. So you're making sure your patients are filling out these NPS questionnaires, which essentially is asking like your patients, like, on like a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, how satisfied were you with blah, blah, blah. And all of these reports and things will allow you to see like where things are screwing up instead of only finding out once you got a dispute on cherry, for example. So these reports and these systems will allow you to be able to handle this volume, right? Now, the end goal of this final stage is once you have these reports in place, right? These systems in place for front desk, for fulfillment, and you have this back end offer so that you're now not completely reliant on the ads, right? If the ads this month do really bad and you're not profitable on the front end, you're still selling all of these really high $15,000, $20,000 packages on the back end, keeping your margins and your revenue at some sort of new high constant. And with this, you are now able to hire an operator. This is going to be probably the most expensive person that you hire at the spa that's going to be able to take over the day-to-day operations. And now you are pretty much successful in delegating yourself out of the business and easily hitting that $500,000 to $1 million a month in revenue.